Hey there, how's it going? Today I want to share a few thoughts about how I processed a really difficult time of transition and resetting after my world in India completely collapsed. My wife had caught typhoid, she was incredibly unwell, our project was not going as we'd expected it to. We'd had some major fallouts with the charity that we were working with. There were some really unhealthy and unsafe and uncomfortable things going on in the group. I won't go into it now. I was dealing with some massive personal stuff. Again, something I'm happy to share at another point. But I just wanted to break open the process that I went through to basically redesign myself and to reassemble my identity. After having spent so many years in a certain direction of life, to suddenly be faced with a new chapter where I had to build everything back from scratch. And looking back, I don't actually think I dealt with the challenge and the grief and the trauma that well. But I think there were a few things that I actually did do well and I'm really proud about. So one of the things that I did was I made a morning routine and a daily habit of writing 1,000 words a day, every single day. I wrote by hand with a little fountain pen and often in books that I made by hand. I had invested a lot of time and energy in learning about the craft of storytelling, the craft of writing, and also the craft of making books. I was kind of romanticizing my cathartic approach and processing of this really hard season. And by forcing myself to sit down every day and write at least 1,000 words, at least 4 pages, I gave myself the time to open up, and I forced myself to speak and to ask myself difficult questions. I would provide myself prompts from other places, questions and inquiries that I found hard to answer sometimes. Questions to myself that I didn't really want to answer, but I made myself do so. I wrote stories as a way to externalize and separate myself from the pain that I was experiencing. And I read those stories as if it was a character that I was rooting for, trying to understand what I would do next, or what I would want to do next if I was watching a movie with this character in it. And this process of writing every day, this process of reflecting in a structured way, this process of sort of unearthing all of the challenges and creating a routine out of that and creating a safe space where I knew no one would enter into was so helpful for me. Because I think otherwise I could have very easily gotten trapped into a busy cycle of life again, where I was jumping into work and forcing my mind to distraction and not really allowing myself to heal. And I think actually I've gained so much from that time and that process. And I also have become a lot better writer. It's amazing now looking back at those books. I have them all on a shelf tucked away in my office. I can see each one and I usually have them in chronological order, and I can pick a book and open to the page and go right back to that time and feel what I was feeling and learn where I am now and see the difference and the change. And it's amazing to stop and reflect and realize actually how much has happened since 2012. Only some 8 years since the time where I had to pick up the pieces of my broken life and reassemble them again. It's only been 8 years since I recognized I had these massive character gaps and these personality traits that I wasn't a fan of, that were in many ways quite destructive and self-destructive. And these were really hard things to process. But writing, journaling, storytelling, externalizing, reflecting, reading, contemplating, praying, meditating, I think in many ways it kind of saved my life. And I know people are going through a really hard time right now. And I've been so fortunate to not experience loss and grief in this season. And I really hope that if you are going through a hard season, that you can get what you need. And if you aren't feeling like you can get what you need from other people in the world around you, can you provide a bit of structure, a bit of routine to open up into the depths of yourself and to face what you don't like to see? Looking at the mirror, what you want to change, how you want to improve, how you want to grow, what you've been through, what you know, what you don't know, what you're scared about, what you're excited about. Can you just let it all out and see what comes of it? That was what I did. I found it helpful. Curious to reflect and hear any of your thoughts if you're going through some of this at this time. Just sharing some of mine. I hope even one token can help somebody out there go through a season like I did. Peace be with you on this. It's a long road. Take care.